Back here on MLB Tonight, sad news to report today. A true baseball legend has passed away. Luis Tiant, a colorful figure and celebrated big game pitcher, has died at the age of 83. Tiant, born in Cuba, would pitch 19 major league seasons, win 229 games, and it was his 8 years with the Red Sox that led to the legend. He would have great stretch runs throughout the 70s, including throwing a shutout against the Big Red Machine, the Cincinnati Reds, in Game 1 of the 1975 World Series, and a shutout on the final day of the 1978 regular season that would force that famous one-game playoff against Bucky Dent and the Yankees. One of Boston's most beloved figures, Luis Tiant, was larger than life.
Tiant, the prince of perpetual motion, and the only person on earth who doesn't like to watch Luis Tiant pitch is the guy who has to bat against him.
Boston fell in love.
Oh, Luis, go!
You know, it was like going to a festival. We used to always kid that when Lou Tiant pitched at Fenway Park, you could rob all the houses in the suburbs.
For Tiant, it was the first time since leaving his native Cuba that he felt at home.
Boston, for me, is my second country.
Senor Luis Tiant, from Cuban exile to King of the Hill in Boston. The fans love him.
Unbeknownst to Tiant, one of his fans was about to give him the surprise of a lifetime. In 1975, a U.S. government delegation went to Cuba. It brought along a personal letter to Fidel Castro from a senator from Massachusetts. In it was an impassioned plea to let Luis Tiant's parents see their son in Boston. Castro, a huge baseball fan himself, approved the request.
17 years, I don't see my father. And when they come into the airport, I start crying. And he get mad at me. Come on, what's the matter with you? Why you cry? You're supposed to be happy. I said, maybe you. I'm happy, but, you know, I had to cry.
And so it was that Luis Tiant was reunited with his family, just in time for the pinnacle of his career.
Is this man overjoyed?
70-year-old Luis Tiant Sr.
Luis Tiant's father arrives to see his son pitch in a World Series game against the Big Red Machine, the Cincinnati Reds.
El Tiante #1 is watching El Tiante #2 on the mound.
That's the first time my father see me pitch. He never seen me in Cuba.
Fans start chanting, Louis, Louis.
I remember sitting down behind home plate, watching his father cry, just to be able to see his son pitch in Fenway Park for the Boston Red Sox. It was a great moment.
Crowd on its feet here at Fenway, and Petrocelli gloves it. Oh, in time. Luis Tiant spins a 5-hit shutout to give the Sox the victory.
You know, that was my best time family-wise. You know, what more you can ask?
Your father and mother from Cuba have come a long way, and they must be extremely happy, especially your dad.
I believe he had to be happy, more than I am right now, really.
His family never would return to Cuba. Tiant would go on to play 7 more seasons, making stops in New York, Pittsburgh, and California, before retiring with 229 wins, the most ever for a Cuban-born ballplayer.
Pitching wizard, Senor Luis Tiant.
To me, he's the best player that's not in the Hall of Fame.
Luis Tiant, El Tiante, El Conquistador, call him what you want.
You gotta like this guy.
He's a very strong candidate for the Hall of Fame, as Peter Gammons said right there. 1968, by the way, Luis Tiant had a 1.60 ERA for Cleveland, 258 innings as well. You see the low ERA there. Made his debut in 1964 facing the pennant-winning Yankees, beat Whitey Ford through a shutout. Mentioned the shutout in 1978, and then had back-to-back, did not allow an earned run either against the A's or the Big Red Machine 1975. Just an all-time great. Again, I'll throw out something else there. In September and October for the Red Sox, he was 31-12. Case. So again, Peter Gammons was with us before, and he said, I asked him, why did he debut on the Hall of Fame ballot at 31% and then fall off? And Peter thought you really had to be living through it to see it and know it. Because if you took yourself back to the place and time, he was not only a one-of-a-kind, he was the big game pitcher. He was that great.
He really was. He was that great. I mean, you look at his numbers, what he did, what he meant to Boston, though, too. I got a chance to really meet Luis Tiant and get a chance to hang out with him at David Ortiz at a golf outing every year, and we'd all go down to the Dominican, and I got a chance to hang out with Louis. What an incredible personality. You can see how he was endeared to those fans in Boston everywhere he went. But he was a big game pitcher. I really do think Cooperstown maybe hopefully takes another look at some point, but we lost a legend.
Yeah. Watching that gave me chill bumps because I remember watching that game. But you think about where he's come from. I mean, doing those interviews in English. He went to the Mexican League. I mean, how hard it was. I know going over to Dominican or Venezuela, how much trouble. I always put myself in their shoes. Gosh, how did you do that coming in here without knowing the language? But, pitching's basically, in a nutshell, about disrupting timing. And he was the epitome of disrupting timing. The different deliveries, the different way he would go about it, different release points. Remember Johnny Cueto? I still see pictures and I go, this guy must have watched Luis Tiant pitch. The guys that change their motion and try to speed you up, slow you down. Sean, talking hitting, those were the guys that gave you a little trouble. It wasn't just the pure stuff. And as he got later on in his career, that's why he was still successful, because he was able to disrupt timing.
Yeah, El Duque, too. Another guy, the same kind of thing.
Where was he from?
Exactly. Yep, exactly.
I know. Growing up, what was the wind-up that we all mimicked in the backyard when we wanted to do something
playing
funny?
wiffle ball, yeah.
And you go right into it again. When you see that again, and never taunting, just charismatic.
Yeah.
Right? There was joy emanating from him. Yet he was one of the great competitors. Louis Tiant was 83 years old.